Imagine if you could sit down with the world's top performers, billionaires, elite athletes, creative geniuses, and ask them one simple question: what actually works in your life? Not theory, not motivational fluff, but real habits, routines, and decisions that led to success. That is exactly what Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss delivers. This is not a book you read once and forget. It's a toolbox you return to again and again. Let's start with a simple truth this book emphasizes. Success is not random. It leaves patterns. When you study high performers, you begin to notice that many of them do surprisingly similar things. They value their mornings. They guard their time. They think differently about fear. And most importantly, they take consistent action. One of the most powerful ideas in this book is the importance of morning routines. Many of the people featured don't start their day in chaos. They start it with intention. Some meditate, some journal, some exercise. Some simply sit quietly and think. The specific habit doesn't matter as much as the discipline behind it. The message is clear. If you win the morning, you win the day. Think about it. Most people wake up and immediately check their phone. Messages, notifications, stress, it all floods in before their mind is even awake. But high performers protect that first hour. They use it to center themselves, to think, to plan, to build strength mentally and physically. This is something you can start today. Even 10 minutes of intentional silence or reflection can begin to change your mindset. Another key idea is the concept of fear setting. Most people are familiar with goal setting, but very few think about fear in a structured way. Fear often holds us back more than lack of ability. We imagine worst-case scenarios and then stop ourselves from taking action. But what if you actually define those fears clearly? What if you wrote them down and examined them logically? When you break fear into pieces, it loses its power. You realize that most worst-case scenarios are not as catastrophic as they seem, and even if they happen, you can recover. This shift from vague fear to clear thinking can unlock action. It moves you from paralysis to progress. The book also teaches the importance of focusing on what truly matters. Many successful people follow the idea that a small number of actions create most of the results. This is often called the 80-20th principle. Instead of trying to do everything, they identify the few things that make the biggest difference. Imagine you have 10 tasks today. Instead of treating them equally, ask yourself, which 2 tasks will actually move my life forward? Which ones create real impact? When you focus on those, your productivity changes completely. You're no longer busy, you're effective. There's also a strong emphasis on saying no. This might sound simple, but it's incredibly difficult. Opportunities, requests, distractions, they are everywhere. If you say yes to everything, you end up with no time for what truly matters. High performers understand that every yes is also a no to something else. Learning to say no is not about being rude. It's about being focused. It's about protecting your time and energy. When you say no to distractions, you are saying yes to your goals. Another theme that appears again and again is the importance of physical health. You cannot perform at a high level if your body is constantly tired or stressed. Many of the people in this book invest heavily in their health. They exercise regularly. They pay attention to what they eat. They prioritize sleep. Sleep, in particular, is often underestimated. People treat it as optional, but it's actually foundational. Without proper rest, your thinking becomes slower, your emotions become unstable, and your decisions become weaker. High performers don't sacrifice sleep for productivity, they use sleep to enhance it. The book also dives into mental clarity. Journaling is one of the simplest tools mentioned, yet it's incredibly powerful. Writing your thoughts helps you understand them. It clears mental clutter. It allows you to process emotions and ideas more effectively. You don't need to write pages and pages. Even a few lines can make a difference. Write what you're grateful for. Write what's bothering you. Write what you want to achieve today. Over time, this practice can transform how you think. Another important lesson is embracing failure. Many people avoid failure at all costs. They play softy. They stay in their comfort zone. But the people featured in this book see failure differently. They see it as feedback, as a learning tool. Every mistake contains information. It tells you what doesn't work. It pushes you to adapt and improve. When you stop fearing failure, you become more willing to take risks. And that's where growth happens. There's also a strong focus on learning. Not in the traditional sense of memorizing information, but in the sense of continuous improvement. High performers are always learning. They read, they experiment, they ask questions. They stay curious. This curiosity keeps them evolving. It prevents them from becoming stagnant. It allows them to adapt in a constantly changing world. If you want to grow, you need to adopt the mindset of a learner. Another interesting idea is simplicity. We often think success requires complex strategies and complicated systems. But many of the tools in this book are simple. They are easy to understand. The challenge is not complexity, it's consistency. Anyone can meditate once. Anyone can exercise for a day. Anyone can write a goal. But doing these things consistently over weeks, months, and years, that's what creates results. The book also highlights the importance of environment. Your surroundings influence your behavior more than you realize. If you are constantly surrounded by distractions, it becomes harder to focus. If you are surrounded by negativity, it affects your mindset. Creating a supportive environment can make a huge difference. This could mean organizing your workspace, limiting distractions, or spending time with people who inspire you. Small changes in your environment can lead to big changes in your actions. Another key lesson is the idea of systems over goals. Goals are important, they give direction. But systems are what actually get you there. A goal might be to get fit. A system is your daily workout routine. A goal might be to write a book. A system is your habit of writing every day. When you focus on systems, you shift your attention from outcomes to actions. You stop worrying about results and start focusing on the process. And overcome the results. The book also explores the idea of slowing down to speed up. In a world that constantly pushes us to do more, faster, this might seem counterintuitive. But taking time to think, to plan, to reflect can actually make you more effective. Instead of rushing into action, take a moment to ask yourself, is this the right action? Is this aligned with my goals? This pause can prevent wasted effort and lead to better decisions. Gratitude is another recurring theme. Many high performers practice gratitude regularly. It helps them stay grounded. It shifts their focus from what's missing to what's already present. This simple shift can improve your mood, your mindset, and even your relationships. The book also reminds us that success is personal. What works for one person may not work for another. The goal is not to copy someone else's life exactly, but to experiment and find what works for you. Think of this book as a buffet of ideas. You don't have to take everything. You pick what resonates with you. You try it. You adjust to it. You make it your own. Another powerful takeaway is the importance of patience. We live in a world that expects instant results. But real success takes time. It requires consistent effort. It requires persistence. The people in this book didn't achieve success overnight. They built it step by step, day by day, habit by habit. This Perspective can help you stay committed even when progress feels slow. There's also an emphasis on self-awareness. Understanding yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns is crucial. When you know yourself better, you can make better decisions. You can choose paths that align with who you are. Self-awareness also helps you identify what's holding you back. Sometimes the biggest obstacles are internal fear, doubt, limiting beliefs. Recognizing these is the first step to overcoming them. Another idea that stands out is the importance of taking breaks. Constant work without rest leads to burnout. High performers understand the value of recovery. They take time to recharge. They step away when needed. This doesn't mean being lazy. It means being strategic. Rest is not the opposite of work, it's part of it. It allows you to return with more energy and focus. The book also touches on creativity. Many successful people engage in activities that stimulate their creativity. This could be reading, traveling, or simply taking time to think. Creativity is not just for artists, it's a valuable skill in any field. It helps you solve problems. It helps you see opportunities. It helps you think differently. Another lesson is the power of habits. Your life is essentially the sum of your habits. Small actions repeated daily shape your future. If you improve your habits, you improve your life. Start small. Choose one habit. Focus on it. Build consistency. Once it becomes part of your routine, add another. Over time, these small changes compound into significant results. The book also highlights the importance of asking better questions. The quality of your life is often determined by the quality of your questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of, "Can I do this?" ask, "How can I do this?" Better questions lead to better answers, and better answers lead to better actions. Finally, the book reminds us that action is everything. You can read all the books in the world, but if you don't apply what you learn, nothing changes. Knowledge without action is useless. So, take one idea from this book, just one, and apply it. Start a morning routine. Write down your fears. Focus on your most important task. Say no to something that doesn't matter. Take action. Because, at the end of the day, success is not about knowing more. It's about doing more of what matters. And that is the true power of this book. It doesn't just inspire you, it gives you tools. Tools you can use. Tools that can change your life, one habit at a time.